A very good afternoon to everyone and welcome from Kuala Lumpur, home of 47 member associations from the continent of Asia. My name is Zhang Huan and I'll be taking you through today's highly anticipated draw, which everyone has been long waited for. Indeed, we are here today for one of the most significant draws in the AFC calendar, the AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar final round draw. While in normal circumstances, we would have kindly invited the representative from 12 teams here in Malaysia. But unfortunately, with the current situation of COVID-19 global pandemic, we had to conduct this draw in a different way. If you can see behind me, we're gathered here in a virtual environment with many distinguished guests among us today. I'd like to convey a warm welcome, especially to the head coaches of the 12 teams who will find out their fate through today's draw. I'm sure all of them are eager to discover their World Cup spot contenders. Besides those who are joining us from online under the strict SOPs, we have here with us today the AFC General Secretary Dato' Windsor John, AFC Deputy General Secretaries, AFC Directors, AFC Commercial Partners, and of course, members of the media. And finally, to the millions of fans watching this draw across the world, thank you for joining us today. Now, moving on to the competition itself. For only the second time in world football history, the FIFA World Cup returns to Asia next year. And Asia's top teams will be competing for their ultimate glory among the global football powerhouses. But before we proceed any further, let's take a look at this team's highlight video to remind those who have reached up until this stage of the competition. What a thrilling competition we have ahead of us by just looking at the 12 teams. In fact, the previous edition of FIFA World Cup in Russia saw a record of 5 Asian teams competing at the global showpiece. And this Qatar 2022 promises to be the greatest ever edition to date. Without a doubt, it is every team's dream to secure a ticket to the FIFA World Cup, the ultimate stage of the international football tournament. And maybe that is the reason why the round 2 of the Asian qualifiers saw Asia's top-tier teams creating numerous moments of brilliance as they steered their sides to today's final round draw. Now, we're almost there to the main event. However, before we get to the draw, let's turn our attention to the draw mechanics video to understand how everything works.
AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar Draw Mechanism. 12 Asian Football Confederation AFC member associations, 7 group winners and 5 of the second best placed teams from the Asian Qualifiers Round 2 have qualified for the AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar. Group winners of preliminary Round 2, 8 teams. 7 AFC member associations that will qualify for the AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar final round by virtue of finishing as group winners from the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 preliminary competition and AFC Asian Cup China 2023 qualifiers primary joint qualification round 2 in their respective groups. 5 AFC member associations that will qualify for AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar final round by virtue of finishing as best second-placed teams from the preliminary joint qualification round 2 among all groups according to the criteria to determine the ranking of best second-placed teams among the groups sent via AFC letter dated 29th July 2019. Competition format. According to the decision by the AFC Competitions Committee, seeding for the draw shall be based on the latest FIFA rankings available at the time of the draw. Therefore, the FIFA Coca-Cola ranking released on 18th June 2021 is applied to identify the seeding for the draw. 12 teams will be drawn into 2 groups of 6 teams each, who will compete in a home and away round-robin format. Additionally, the subsequent match sequence will be applied following the AFC Competitions Committee's decision. The winner and runner-up of each group, 4 teams in total, will qualify to the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 finals. The third-place teams of each group, 2 teams in total, will qualify for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 Asian playoff round, with the winner qualifying for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 Intercontinental playoff round, the details of which will be communicated once finalized. 6 country pots. Pot 1, Pot 2, Pot 3, Pot 4, Pot 5 and Pot 6. Teams will be divided into 6 pots according to the rankings. Pot number represents the position the team shall be placed in the group. Teams from Pot 6, Pot 5, Pot 4, Pot 3, Pot 2 and Pot 1 shall be placed in position 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 respectively in each group. The first and second balls drawn from each pot shall be placed in groups A and B respectively. Draw will commence in the following sequence: Pot 6, Pot 5, Pot 4, Pot 3, Pot 2, Pot 1. Pot 6. The first ball drawn from Pot 6 will be placed in position A6. Similarly, the next ball drawn will be placed in position B6. The same principle and sequence will apply across pots 5 and 1. This shall conclude the draw for the AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar.
Now that we're all clear on the draw mechanics, I'd like to kindly introduce today's draw conductor, AFC General Secretary Dato Windsor John.
My privilege, on behalf of the AFC President, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, to offer you all a warm welcome to today's final round draw for the AFC Asian Qualifiers Road to Qatar. We must congratulate the 12 teams who have reached this stage after an exciting qualification competition. It was a great campaign that was successfully and safely completed under very challenging circumstances. And we convey our appreciation to all our member associations, as well as the 7 centralized hosts for putting in place the highest health and safety standards. Now we turn our attention to the final round of qualification for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. So let us review the pots for today's draw. Our first pot is pot 6, where we have Vietnam and Lebanon, the 11th and 12th ranked teams. In pot 5, we have Oman and Syria. Iraq and China PR go to pot 4. They are ranked 7th and 8th in the AFC ranking. Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates will be in our pot 3. Pot 2 is for Australia and Korea Republic, our 3rd and 4th ranked teams. And finally, the highest seeds in our draw today, Japan and Islamic Republic of Iran. Now that all is set, we are ready to start the draw. Let's start with pot 6 and see which team will play in the two groups. The first team drawn, which will be positioned in A6, is Lebanon. Second time in the final round World Cup qualifiers. Lebanon will be placed in A6. And let's confirm the remaining team going to position B6 is Vietnam. First time in the World Cup qualifiers final round. Pot 5 has our 9th and 10th ranked teams. Let's see who will join Lebanon in Group A, position A5. It will be Syria. Reached the World Cup qualifiers Asian playoff for the FIFA World Cup 2018, Syria. And the other team in pot 5 is Oman. Second time in the World Cup qualifiers final round, Oman. Right, we move to pot 4 and see whether it is Iraq or China PR who will join Group A. Position A4. Iraq qualified once for the FIFA World Cup in 1986. Iraq. And in position B4, it will be China PR, qualified for the FIFA World Cup in 2002. Now, the first half of the draw is now complete, but there is no halftime break. We continue straight to pot 3. Now, pot 3 has the 5th and 6th place teams, Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. Let's see which one will be in Group A. In position A3, UAE, United Arab Emirates, qualified for the FIFA World Cup 1990. That means the remaining team should be positioned in B3, Saudi Arabia. Qualified 5 times for the FIFA World Cup 1974, 1998, 2006, 2014 and 2018, Saudi Arabia. We are getting closer to the top seats. Pot 2 has Australia and Korea Republic. Let's see which one gets a spot in Group A. And will be for position A2. Korea Republic qualified 10 times for the FIFA World Cup 1954, and consecutively from 1986 to 2018 Korea Republic. And in position B2, it of course must be Australia, qualified for the FIFA World Cup 1974 and 2006 and 2018, Australia. We have one more pairing to draw, Asia's top-ranked national teams, Japan and Islamic Republic of Iran. Which of them will join Group A? Islamic Republic of Iran qualified 5 times for the FIFA World Cup 1978, 1998, 2006, 2014 and 2018. That means the last team to join Group B in B1 should be, and for sure it is Japan, qualified 6 times for the FIFA World Cup 1998, 2002, 2006, 2010, 14 and 18, Japan. That concludes the draw for today and confirms these 12 teams road to Qatar 2022. On behalf of the AFC and the AFC President, I would like to wish all the teams, players, as well as the coaches in virtual attendance today, the very best of success. Back to you, Junwan.
Thank you, Dr. Windsor. From the faces of the coaches on the screen, I can see a mixture of emotions. The teams know who they're up against to secure their place for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Now, back to the draw results. Clearly, some intriguing ties are in store for Asian football fans. I'm sure all of you who are watching now are eager for the matches to kick off in September. So speaking of which, let's go over the 2 groups again. In Group A, we have Islamic Republic of Iran, Korea Republic, UAE, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. And for Group B, we have Japan, Australia, Saudi Arabia, China PR, Oman, and Vietnam. The draw results and the match schedule will be made available through AFC's official website and official social media platforms. Before we let you go, let me quickly remind about the final qualifying stage. The winner and runner-up from each of the 2 groups will qualify directly to the FIFA World Cup, and the 2 best third-place teams will be played in the Asian playoff, with the winner of that match obtaining the final ticket to the Intercontinental Playoff match. That is all from me today. Thank you to AFC commercial partners for your support, and very best luck to the 12 participating teams. May the matches be played in the spirit of fair play. And wherever you are, please remember, always stay safe.